how your destiny is going to be. Because for me, I think grades, what they do is they measure your level of memory, how far you can understand a concept, how far you can amass knowledge, how far you can comprehend a certain thing. But it doesn't define your destiny. Because in the course of my professional life, I've come to interact with so many people or young people who, during their schooling time, they were like average students. Because myself, I would consider that I used to be an average student. But then these people succeed not because of luck, but because they didn't allow this issue of grades to determine what their future should look like. And this is what we as young people we shouldn't do. Okay. Even if you happen to have like low grades in school, that doesn't mean you're going to be like a low achiever. It's rather what you make for yourself, the intentions you have for yourself, the purpose you have for yourself. That is what matters. And if you see yourself as a low earner or an average student, it should be an opportunity for you to work harder. And when you're doing that, you should do that with intention, because when you have intentions, then you will do whatever it takes to achieve or to get to that destination that you want to get to. Because as an example, I will tell you that it has not been difficult. It has not been easy for me as well. It has been very difficult. You know, we grow up, we go to school, and we are hoping that once we graduate with our impressive certificates, we are going to get a job. We will tell ourselves that it has not been easy. You apply to jobs and you receive very polite emails rejecting you. You receive emails like, we regret to inform you. So many of them, myself, I cannot even count how many of those I've received. But that is because in our heads, we know that, okay, if you perform well in school, immediately you apply for a job, they are going to give it to you. But that's not always the case. But what I want us to understand is that if you receive these emails, it doesn't mean that that's the end for you. It doesn't mean that you are less. It simply means that maybe at that moment, you are not needed. Okay. Or at that particular place where you applied for, you are not needed. So when you receive rejection, you should see it like it meaning not here or not yet. Not here in the sense that, okay, the company where you applied for, they are not ready for you, or maybe you don't have a future there. But that doesn't mean you don't have a future in another company. Okay. And not yet, maybe that is a company where you're supposed to be. That's a company where you're supposed to build your future. But at the moment, they are not ready for you. So it shouldn't stop you from applying in the future if there are other opportunities that you think you can do. Okay. So the very second myth I want us to address is the fact that most people think that if they fail, it means that they are not enough. All right. That's another myth that we should try to debunk, because most young people carry this stain of failure. They see failure as a stain on their integrity, on their personality, but that shouldn't be so. The truth is, the more or the faster you fail, the faster you learn. And I've come to like reframe failure in a way that suits me or makes me to work even harder. So for me, when they say someone failed, it means it's the first attempt in learning. So when you see fail, consider it as a first attempt in learning. It means that you are just starting up. Because if you don't fail, you won't learn. And when you fail, what it does is it gives you a moment to reflect. You kind of like ask yourself questions. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? What can I do to change the situation? But if you succeed at your first trial, you move with the flow. At that point, you don't even reflect. You're just happy, you're celebrating, and you move with it. But failure gives you an opportunity to have a deep moment for yourself, to think deeper, to look at, to search, to look at those weaknesses that you have within you. Okay. So if you fail, it doesn't mean you're not enough. It simply means there is something that you did that you didn't do right, or maybe there's something that you did that you overdid it, right? You did so much. Maybe at the time that you did that particular thing, that's not what they were expecting from you. They expected less. but due to your knowledge, due to your exposure, you did so much that uh, they are looking for someone who is just starting up, someone who they can train maybe with their culture, with their rules, with their policies. They don't want someone who already knows so much because there's always that fear out there. So, as young people, we should always realize that if we fail, it doesn't mean that we are not enough. It simply means there are certain things that we need to look into, we need to arrange. Okay. So, failure shouldn't be seen as the end, it should always be seen as the starting point. The third myth that I want us to look at is the fact that most young people think that they need to be ready before they start. That is not the case, because if you want to wait for that perfect moment, right, that to feel confident or to feel so prepared, the truth is that moment might never come. It might never come. So whatever you have, you just have to start with that. You don't have to wait. Maybe in the course of starting, you get to learn more and you get to be more confident. You get to arm yourself for you to succeed. But if you wait for that perfect moment and it doesn't come, you become frustrating. And there's so many things that you will lose in the course of growing as a young person. So confidence is what leads the way, but then you must take the first step for it to actually happen. And the last myth that I want us to look to talk about is the fact that most young people think that if it is not perfect, then it isn't for them. And this is the situation. Let me say you went to school, you graduated with a first class in whatever field that you studied, and upon graduation, you're looking for a job, but what you want isn't the jobs that you're seeing. You're rather maybe being bombarded with like low level kind of jobs or menial tasks, and you're like, okay, but this is not for me. This is not what I studied. This is not my level, because you're waiting for that perfect job that suits your profile. If you continue waiting for that job, you might not get it, because maybe that perfect job might not come at that moment. But what you need to do is you need to start with what you have, because the truth is at times you just have to get in. When you get in, then you can now prove your worth and you climb up the skills. And I always take myself as an example, because before I left the country, I'm now based in Belgium. I was already a practicing lawyer. I had my first degree. I took the bar, I passed, and I was sworn in. So when I traveled, when I got here, I was using my first degree, using my law qualification to apply for a job. I knew that immediately I apply, I'm going to get it. But that wasn't the case, because when you get to the West, the first thing you have to do is to understand their system. They believe that you have to go through the educational system for you to know what is happening within their country or wherever you're based. So for me, I was like, okay, it's going to be easy, but no. With all the qualification, I applied and I got so many rejections. But I didn't let that weigh me down, because I was like, okay, I'm here. Let me take time to understand their system, to know what works here and what doesn't work. So the more I received rejections, the more I continued to apply. And at one point, I noticed that it's not about what you have; it's about the system. Because in the Western world, what happens is they always give priority to their citizens. So no matter how good you are as a foreigner, the first person that they get to is their citizen. If there is a job opening and you apply for that job, they'll have to ensure that they go through all the pool of candidates who apply, to ensure that all the European citizens, for example, they don't meet that particular category that they are looking for, or requirements. They don't meet it before they can look at a foreigner. And even if they look at a foreigner, they have a lot of explaining to do to their government. They have to prove to their government that they spent the required time given to them for the job advert. They didn't see any European citizen, and you that they saw who is a foreigner, you meet the qualification, and no other European citizen met that particular criteria. And that is just part of it. Also, there's a salary threshold. As a foreigner, they have to pay you even more than they will pay a citizen. And most companies, they will not want to start a foreigner with such high salary when they can use it to employ like two European citizens. So it's always very difficult. But in all of this, you have to stay focused because you must have a purpose. There are opportunities where I've applied for and they told me that I was overqualified. You can imagine. Overqualification should be a reason why they should take you into a company, but then they'll tell you that no, you're overqualified. You should look for executive position jobs. But these jobs, when you apply to them, they'll tell you that no, they need someone who have like experience within the European community. But when you are applying to have that experience, they will tell you that no, maybe you don't have the experience or you're overqualified. They need someone who is just starting up. So it's always very complicated. And the issue here is that whatever you have, just start with it. Just start with it, okay? And if you apply to a particular place and they tell you no, or there is no chance for you, it doesn't mean that you should let it go. You can decide to create an opportunity for yourself based on the skills that you have. For example, when I received all of these rejections, what I did was I started looking at international firms in Belgium that are offering services in Africa or that have a lot of clienteles in Africa. So I found one and I noticed that it's an international law boutique. They have like international desks, offices for different countries. We had Nigeria, we have South Africa, the Gambia, but there was no desk for Cameroon. There was no desk for the other countries. There are 17 of them. So what I did was I wrote to them. I said, okay, I've gone through your website. I noticed that this is what you do, but I don't see you having a desk for Cameroon. I don't see you having a desk for the other countries. And this is my background. I think if you take me on, I can handle this particular department. And they were happy and they brought me in. So though I received the rejections, I had to create an opportunity for myself. So as young people, we always have to look at these opportunities where we can put our skills into use. For example, back home, you can have like a software developer who can go into the website of some of these major companies, look at them. Is it well developed? Are there weaknesses? You can say, okay, if you discover a weakness, you can write to those companies, tell them that, okay, I've gone into your website, I've seen that there are some weaknesses. And these weaknesses are maybe preventing you from having enough businesses. And this is my skill. This is my expertise. I can help you to rebuild your website in a way that you're going to have a lot of traction. If you are interested, get to me. And I think if that business is actually suffering and they know that they are receiving less traction than they're supposed to, they'll want to talk to you. So you can create that opportunity for yourself based on your skills. So we shouldn't just sit waiting for that perfect moment to come. We should actually try to create it. Then the last myth I want to talk about is the fact that if it is not perfect, it's also not good enough. I think that's what I focus on. And now what I want us to go next to is like, how can we take risks? The risks that we need for us to move forward. And when I'm talking about taking risks, what I mean is not like being reckless, because you see, take risks, people want to do crazy things in order to succeed, but that is not it. It just means that you have to be strategic in how you move forward with your growth. And the very first thing I want us to know, which is like a solution to some of the myths that we just talked about, is the fact that growth isn't comfortable. Okay. If it is comfortable, it means it's not growth, it's just maintenance. Growth needs to be messy. At this particular moment, growth needs to be messy. You need to do a lot of things for you to succeed, right? So every risk you take, it should be well calculated. It should be one that is propelling you to where you want to be. Because we all have dreams. We all have dreams. And in that dreams, it doesn't mean that we'll just get up and we'll have it delivered to us. At certain moments, we have to travel so much through a lot for us to get to those dreams. But then, as you're moving, you're going to be learning a lot. And in that course of learning, that is how growth is also growing. It's also coming about, right? So if it's comfortable, know that it's not growth, because I know most of us, we already know this. They say growth doesn't have happen in your comfort zone. So that is just to prove to you that if it is not messy, if it is not giving you headache, it means that you're not growing. So we have to do all of these things, because when you step out of your comfort zone, you start building small steps. What they do is they create a direction for you, and this direction is going to create like the momentum for you to propel forward. So always know that you have to take an initiative, and growth doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy. It's messy. So don't think that if you're going through a lot right now, it means that maybe you're having trouble, things are forced, or you're being frustrated, or maybe it's bad luck. It is not. It's just a process. And this process, if you're consistent with it, is going to lead you to somewhere. Then the next thing is you have to be consistent. Yeah. So if you want to take risks to grow, it means that you have to be consistent. Small steps every day, right? Small steps, meaningful steps, and you have to do them with intention. It is that intentionality that keeps you, that gives you discipline, that gives you devotion, that gives you direction. For example, if I decide today that okay, I want to lose some weight, and I go to the gym like tomorrow, and I spend 24 hours doing intensive work, and after that I don't go to the gym anymore, that will be it about my dream of losing weight. But if on the other hand I have a friend whom I started with, he decided that okay, every day I will spend 10 minutes doing little exercises, and he's consistent doing it every day for the next 1 month, he is going to have results that I won't be able to achieve, because I went one day and I killed myself doing intensive, and after that I forgot about it. So whatever thing you set out to do, you have to be consistent with it. Little steps every day, show up every day. As you're showing up, people are seeing you. Okay. And at some point, someone will decide to bless that effort that you're putting into what you're doing. But if you show up today, tomorrow you're not there, the next day you're not there, you show up the next day, few minutes, and you're not there, and so on, another person is noticing. Maybe if that person had an opportunity for you, a person will say, no, this is not somebody who is trustworthy. But if you're there every day and somebody is seeing it and that person has an opportunity, the person will say, no, this is someone who is trustworthy. Maybe this person can handle this opportunity for me. So as a young person, always show up with whatever thing you're doing, and do it with intentionality. All right. Like your life depends on it, because the little things that you happen today will determine how you handle the big things that come tomorrow. The next thing is that surround yourself with possibilities. As you're growing up as a young person, try to build a network, because like the saying goes, your network is your net worth. All right. So the people that you associate with will determine how far you go or how far you fall. If you associate yourself with people who only see limits, you start seeing limits as well. And if there's an opportunity presented to you and you say, I don't think I can do this, you already program your mind that you cannot do it. Even if you try to do that thing, in your mind, it has been programmed that you cannot do it. But if it is presented to you, no matter how difficult it is, you say, I can do this. When you start it, if it is difficult, you want to prove yourself. You want to get it done, because in your mind, it is programmed that I can do this thing. So surround yourself with possibility. Then the last one is the fact that always act before you're ready, right? And this solves the problem of you trying for it to be perfect for you to do it. So you're looking for that perfect opportunity that suits your profile. But then for you to solve that problem, you should act even before you feel ready. If you're not ready, if you see an opportunity, the requirements, you have like 60%, like Minette mentioned earlier, go for it, apply. It doesn't cost you anything. If they say no, that's it. You apply again. You apply to other opportunities. Because when they are sending you that rejection letter, they are not telling you that no, we cannot move forward with the application. Stop applying to this company. They don't tell you that, which means that you can still come back to apply to that company whenever you see an opportunity. So if you're not ready, just try, just start. because transformation begins with the first step. If, for example, you decide that today is ghost town, maybe I should visit my friend. You get up, you prepare yourself, you take your bath, you eat your food if you want to. If you don't go out of your house, you will not meet your friend. But the moment you step out of your house, it shows commitment and you want to go and meet your friend. But if you stay in your house, you will not meet your friend. So growth always starts with that first step. We must be ready to take that first step. If we don't take it, then there's going to be no growth. Okay. So when you see the opportunities, always go for them. Even if it's more than you, go for them. Just show up. As you are showing up, there is somebody somewhere that's watching. And there might be an opportunity where some other person might call you someday and tell you that I got your name from this person. And maybe you don't even know that person, but because that person has been watching you, seeing the effort, seeing your commitment, seeing your integrity, seeing your discipline, we say, okay, get to this person. I think that he is the one or she is the one who can do this thing for you. So always try to put yourselves out there. Always try to do the best that you can, no matter the situation. If it's tough, do the best that you can. Don't give up. Okay. So that's the message that I want us to carry today. We should not give up. We should always try to put ourselves out there, try to build with the little that we have. Because in showing up, that is how opportunities show up for us as well. And most often people will say some are lucky, they graduated immediately, they found a job. But the truth is, luck is opportunity meeting preparedness. If you're not prepared and that opportunity is handed to you, you will lose it. But if you have been working yourself, getting yourself ready, developing yourself, once the opportunity presents itself, you'll be ready for it. But if you didn't have that that background, that development, you miss it. And when it happens, people will say it's luck. But it's luck because you were prepared for it. Okay. So we should always keep this at the back of our minds. So if I am to conclude on this particular topic, what I would tell us is that you don't wait. Okay. You don't wait, or you don't grow by waiting. Let me put it that way. You don't grow by waiting. You grow by starting. So the myths we carry that you have to be ready, you might fail, or they are not true. All right. So they are just an echo of our fear, and this fear, they will never vanish. But then, as we set out, as we start, they can only shrink. And the more we move forward, they will shrink and they will turn into confidence. So as young people, wherever you are, what I will say is just start. Even if it's small, just start. Even if it's messy, just start. Because it is in starting that you get to grow. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Remy. I'm so sorry, guys. The network has kicked me out, but I'm figuring it out. Mr. Remy has said quite a lot of things, and one of them is you don't grow by waiting, but by starting. And he kind of mentioned that failing does not mean you are not enough, and failing is not just the end point, rather the starting point. This is so amazing. I hope we are learning. I hope we're learning. Please let me see the excitement level in the house. And we have some questions for Mr. Remy in the chat box. Someone has asked, Mr. Takan, is there a specific number of times for a person to fail? So please, can you take that?
The truth is, I think that's a very good question. But the truth is, there is no particular time for you to fail, but then you have to be conscious about your failure. Because, like I said, failure is like the first attempt in learning. So when you fail once, you fail twice, you fail thrice, that's an opportunity for you to learn. But if it is in the same thing, then I think there should be a limit of you failing on the same thing. But if it's different things, there is no limit. Because when you fail so many times, that should be an opportunity for you to learn. But if you're not learning, it means that you don't have the intention of succeeding in that thing. but you can fail in so many things, because as you're failing in so many things, you're learning in so many things as well. But on a particular thing, there should be a limit of you failing, because failing is that you learn. But if you're not learning, it means that you yourself, you're not ready to succeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Remy. I have a personal question. I think this speaks to a lot of youths out there, a lot of graduates. What if you study a particular thing in school, and out of school you don't get so many of such chances? Does that make you a failure? Because you, for example, you studied law, and there are not so many opportunities for you to become a lawyer in your community, and you have to probably switch into accounting. Does that make you a failure?
Again, I don't think that that makes you a failure, because maybe, because sometimes choice of study is based on maybe influence. You grow up, there's something that you're passionate about, you want to study, but your family will tell that no, we don't want this in our family, or we want you to do this. And maybe the thing that they want you to do is not actually what you were called for. It's not actually part of your unique selling point. And maybe in studying that thing, you'll be doing it, even though you do it to succeed, but you're doing it to please those people that want to see you in that field. But inwardly, you yourself, you're not really comfortable with what you are doing. So what happens is, if you notice that there are no more opportunities in the area where you studied, you can always pivot to other areas. And I think that's the main reason why I did law, because at first I wanted to do performing arts, performing and visual arts, because I've always seen myself as a movie producer. Even back in high school, I created my own movie production house, designed everything, hoping that tomorrow I'll be doing movie. But that wasn't the case. After that, I found the love for architecture, and I wanted to do architecture. I applied to universities in Iran, because that is one of the best countries when you're talking about architecture. I got admissions, but I didn't have the resources. But then I said, okay, let me start with law. But because the beauty with law is, when you study law, you can easily pivot to any other area. So that was what I did. I studied law because it was the next best for me at the moment. And with it, I've been able to do so many things. Because personally, what I do is I study based on the trend, what is selling at the moment. Okay, what is it that you can easily get a job within the present moment. That's how I do my things. I started with law. When I was going out to study, I went and I did international European business law, because at that time, most of my colleagues were rather doing international human rights law. And I was like, okay, if businesses come, who are those lawyers that are going to defend them if everybody is doing human rights? So I went into business. And during that period, technology became the next big thing. So I switched. I went to intellectual property and ICT law. That's what I did, because I wanted to be relevant at that moment of technology. But then we had COVID, everything crumbled, and we saw that everybody needs to stay in the same place. And we're now talking about development, now talking about solving immediate challenges. And what did I do at that moment to stay relevant? I had to do a master's in globalization and development, because that was what was needed at that point to solve that particular problem. And after that, we got AI. I went into AI. I'm now a certified AI officer. So the truth is, in growing, that's what I said, growth must be messy. So you need to look at those things that are selling, get into them, and do what you think will keep you functional. So it doesn't matter if you did law and now you're switching, switch if you have to, as long as you know that if you get into that field, there's an opportunity for you. So don't hold yourself back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Remy. And so a very quick question before I let you go. Is it grades or guts for you, or both?
It's not great. It's not great. Because if we want to talk about grades, we'll say, okay, yes, if you're looking for admission into some top universities, they will ask you for the best grades. But it doesn't matter. Let's take, for example, Elon Musk. Let's take, for example, Mark Zuckerberg. Let's take, for example, Steve Jobs. all of these people, they say they went to Harvard, but they dropped out, which means
Hmm.
that it's not an issue of grades.
Hmm.
Look at them
Hmm.
today. We have other top people who went to Harvard like the best. They are working under them who didn't complete studies.
True.
They follow their guts because they saw that, okay, this is an area where I'll be relevant. So it doesn't matter what I do. But what we'll learn from this is the fact that you have to do like some preparation. You have to set like some foundation because they went to Harvard. They spent some time. It means that they got some foundation before moving on to create whatever they created. So always try to have that basic foundation in order for you to build on them.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you so much. We're so blessed by this presentation, and the key word remains relevance.
True.
Try as much as you can to stay relevant, not only in your field. To those of us in the humanitarian field, we say in your community. Try new things and don't be afraid today. Thank you so much, Mr. Remy. It was quite an insightful session. So we're going to quickly
You're
move
welcome.
to our second speaker for the day.